Hey everyone, welcome back to the lab. In this video, we're going to be talking about what's in my backpack, travel edition, direct to you from Curacao. As many of you know, I love building things, I love my gadgets, and it's this thing that allows me to do this anywhere I am, for better or worse. I don't know if it's that healthy. So today I'm just going to show you kind of what's in here on an average trip for me. The way we're going to go through this is we're basically going to start through the compartments that I most use and most access. So we'll be starting with the front pouch, then we'll go to the main pouch, and then we'll go through all the auxiliary pouches, which holds useful things, but not necessarily things I use all the time. I guess we should start out with the kind of mission and values of this backpack. So I like building things on the go, I like having my gadgets, but I also need it to be easy to carry because it's something I'll be carrying all the time. And so everything in here is basically an 80-20 of what I need to handle all like my gadget needs. When I'm traveling, things like clothes and toiletries and stuff, that'll go in like a carry-on. But this thing is all of my tech and gadgets. Okay, so the first thing I think we should start off with is the backpack itself, because the backpack makes or breaks any kind of strategy or system you might have to carry all your stuff. This one here is a mission backpack. I'm not sure exactly which model it is because I bought it for like 5 years ago and I don't have the email. But if you go to Mission Backpacks and look up like waterproof backpacks, it's one of the three that looks like this with the two straps. Main front pocket and big main pocket here. Now what I really like about this backpack and why it's been my go-to for 5 years is, one, it's obviously really sturdy. It's 5 years old and I don't even see any wear and tear. Two, it's very ergonomic, so it's pretty light and thin, but it can actually carry quite a lot because it's one of these bucket backpacks. And three, it's actually waterproof. If you can see on the inside, it's lined with what feels like Gore-Tex. I don't know exactly what this material is, but basically what this means is as long as this thing is closed and the water is coming down this way, like from the top, nothing in this will get wet. I could leave it out in the rain for quite a long time and it will not get wet. Now obviously if I were to submerge this, this stuff is not like watertight, so it would get wet, but for the most part when you're carrying your tech, you will, like in an urban environment, you will never be under that situation. So this is great for commuting, or even when I'm traveling. I know that if it gets wet, if it's in a boat or something, as long as it's not overboard, it's fine. Okay, so that's the backpack. And I'll have all of this stuff linked below with the exact, or at least like 1 or 2 items that are most closely to it if I can't find the exact one. But let's start with the front pocket. So things in the front pocket are basically things that I'm gonna access a lot, or I need or want very quick access, because if I don't have it, that could cause problems for me. So the first thing and the most used item I have in this backpack is this USB-C to USB-C charger. This one is a NECTEC charger, and the important things about it are, 1, it's fast charging, and 2, it's extremely long. This is a 2 meter or about 6 foot cable, which is super useful because in the real world chargers just like aren't placed in nice places, or outlets aren't, so you often need some distance here. This thing charges really fast, but I'm not really sold on the model or the brand. This was just like the best one that was available last year according to the New York Times Wirecutter, so I just recommend looking up whatever the best one is there. Importantly, this is a USB to USB-C charger, and now that most electronics are sane and updated, most of them use USB-C, so it's useful to have that USB-C to USB-C, and then of course it also has its little dongle thing that goes into the wall, which is helpful for most US wall outlets. Next thing I've got is my glasses case. I wear glasses basically 99% of my waking time. Nothing interesting about this, it's just you always want to have good access to it in case you need to store your glasses, or if you're storing it and you need to put them on quickly, to have that, because you never want your glasses to just be free because it's easy to get sat on or something, and that's not good. I will call out that I have Spinoza glasses. I would highly recommend, if you've been wearing glasses for a long time, to take a look at the new modern glasses. Spinozas are good. I'm sure a lot of other ones have ones like this, but these are extremely light, like lighter than I've ever seen glasses before, and it really is game-changing for glasses wearers. All right, so that's in the front main pocket. It doesn't hold that much, but these are the 2 most important items to get at quickly, so it's fine for me. All right, now into the main pocket. First and probably most important thing for me is my laptop. I do a lot of computer work all the time. Every day I'm probably on this thing, doing some random thing, whether it's checking Twitter, writing a new blog post, etc. This is a ThinkPad, a T14S Gen 3 AMD. I love Lenovo's. They really are, I think, the best like bang for your buck in terms of like reliability and horsepower for PCs. And I am a Windows guy. A lot of people might not know that, but I run Windows with Whistle, which is basically Linux running inside. Macs are fine, but I just won't spend money on them. And so I really love this computer, and it's also quite small. It's a little bit fatter than like an Ultrabook and a little bit heavier, but it's got the power of like a normal computer and actually like a normal powerful computer. So I would really recommend the T14S for the current generation, but I always love the Lenovo's for, you know, their price to power and reliability. All right, the next important thing here is my headphones. These are Bose Quiet Comforts. I think these are the 35s, but I actually have multiple. I have the 25, 35, and 45. I upgraded whenever I needed like one for a different occasion, and then whatever the oldest one gets pushed off to like my exercise headphones, because those are gonna get ruined faster, basically, because you're sweating all over them. That's kind of my system for things. I really love the QC series because they're really good headphones. They're very reliable, but they're also relatively cheap. And so this kind of goes to my values of trying to get kind of like the upper middle class of technology, but never going for the high luxury ones. And the reason I think that is because the upper middle class basically will get all of the technology that's been battle hardened over the previous few years, and it will also come in pretty cheap compared to if you'd gotten it a year or two before. So you basically get the best of the previous few years, and it's very reliable. Whereas if you go to, say, like the luxury goods, you start to get into the area of like experimental goods, or it's not battle hardened, or it's just too expensive, and so I just don't think the value's there. Really recommend Bose QCs. Had them for years, have 3 generations of these things, and they're great for, you know, both noise canceling and sound quality, and just like ease of use, robustness, not breaking, stuff like that. All right, my next most used thing here is actually a cord carrier. Now I'm not attached to this one in particular at all. This is a Be Unique, Be Myself is the brand. But I think I just looked this up several years ago, and I just haven't found a better cord carrier. The most important thing, though, for me is that it carries all of these different cords. Let me show you. And now these cords aren't that important by themselves, but they're basically cords that over the years I found I was missing, and so I would go order those and then put one in here for the next time that I needed that thing. And so I'll just run down some of the cords that I have in here that I found useful. I've got a USB to USB micro. I've got a USB to Lightning, though hopefully that will never be used again. And I've never really had a phone or item that needs Lightning. This is usually for others because they always ask me for one. And I have all the other cords except for this one, so that's for them. I have a USB dock here, which is very useful if you're trying to plug multiple things into your laptop. And it looks like this one also has SD card, which is useful for that. I have a USB-C to USB-C because most things now use that. So that's very useful. I have HDMI to HDMI. This is one I didn't have for a long time, and it really bit me whenever I wanted to like either plug into a monitor or especially if I'm at a hotel and wanted to watch something on the TV, they never provide HDMIs for you. So I really am glad to have this one. And then I have just a USB to USB-C, which is good because a lot of things still aren't upgraded to USB-C. And then I finally have a charging dock, which allows me to have one thing plugged in and turn that one plug into like 4 chargers. I also have a few flash drives, but I don't really use them that often, but when you need a flash drive, it's good to have it on hand. All right, another thing I always carry around in the main pocket is just a standard composition book. I'm a big fan of like journaling and drawing out your ideas as alternative ways to thinking about things without just like typing on your computer. And I think different ways of writing things helps you think about things from new perspectives, which is generally good. For me, I've gone through a lot of different kinds of books and stuff, but I ended up with my favorite being just a regular college rules composition book with my favorite pen in here. This is the Papermate Inkjoy, which is my favorite pen. Tried a lot of pens. This is the best for me. Easier to write, goes smoothly. But in my opinion, when you're just trying to like jot notes, simple is better. All right, the last thing I have in this main pocket is one of those old, fat USB-C Mac chargers. Why do I have this? Well, one, I think it's always good to have a backup of chargers. You never know when someone else is going to steal your charger because they need one, and then it's always good to have a backup. 2, I use a Mac for work, and I've used a Mac for work for the past like 5 years. And often MacBooks in particular, get a little bit particular about the kind of power that they're getting. I think it's probably like the voltage or something, I don't know. But I found that often my normal charger, even though it works fine with my PCs and stuff, sometimes the Macs will get mad at it. And so I always have a fallback here to use for them in case they're feeling irritated today. All right, that's it for the big main pocket. Now we'll go into some of these smaller pockets up here. These are things that are gonna be like smaller and I don't wanna lose them, but I need easy access to them even if I don't use them that often. So we'll start in the top pocket. First thing I have is another one of those pens. You never know when you need another pen, so you should always have a pen. This again is my favorite one, the Papermate Inkjoy. Next I have an aux cable. This is an aux cable specifically for my Bose Quiet Comforts. They all use the same cord through the 25, 35, 45, so it's good to just have this one. And I used to use this when my QCs were out of power, but they rarely are out of power, and I don't even think my new phone has an aux port, so this doesn't work. But where I really find this useful is on planes. Basically, all planes have aux ports, and if you don't have an aux cable that fits your headphones, then you can't watch the movie with your nice headphones, which kind of like ruins the whole experience. But this is an easy way to just carry it. I basically only use it on planes, and I can watch the movie using my own headphones. Next thing I have in here are earplugs. These are the loop earplugs, and I have thought about using them at like concerts and stuff, but what I really end up using them for the most part is for sleeping. I'm very sensitive to sounds when I'm sleeping, which will wake me up, and then I don't get good sleep. So especially when I'm traveling and you want good sleep, I always have earphones, or earplugs, I guess is what they are, to try and deaden that sound. These work really well. You can still hear people talking if they're like talking to you. So you're still a little bit aware of your surroundings, but a lot of like those random noises like a lawnmower or people walking or even people talking that is like kind of low, it'll cancel out, which really helps me with my sleep on the go. Also have two chapsticks. I don't actually use chapstick that much, but they're just in there. And then the last thing I have are 3 wedding rings. So I just got married. And apparently you're supposed to wear your wedding ring all the time, but I'm pretty forgetful unless I see it, so I just have these so that I basically don't have an excuse, they're always here. I have one in 3 colors. I got silver, black, and gold, and these are tungsten carbide, pretty cheap off of Amazon, but I really love tungsten carbide. You don't have to worry about it breaking because they're cheap, you can replace them, but they also shouldn't really ever break unless you're like losing your finger or something. So also very durable, so I don't really need to replace these ever. All right, that's it for the top pocket. Now for the middle pocket. These are usually things that are really important, but I really never need to use, but I really can't afford to lose them. So this is things like my passport, my keys for when we get back home, a mask, though I don't use this much, but obviously this was very important the past few years, my ID card for work, which lets me get into the building, and then my vaccination card, which again, I haven't really had to use for years, but when you did need to use this, it was really important to have it on hand for when people asked you for it. All right, that's it for this pocket, and finally we get to this other pocket. Now, I'll be honest, I don't really love the way that this pocket is. It's basically just a random pocket that goes all the way through the front of the bag, and I just use it for random things that, again, I'll need, but are too big to fit in the other pockets, but I don't need them that often. The first thing is a mouse. I got a Logitech, I think it was like the MX Ultra, the MX something, mouse. I love this mouse. And then I have a little carrying case for it, which means I can just like throw it in there and don't have to worry about it getting broken. I don't usually need mice on the go, but when you do need it, like if you're doing Photoshop or you're gonna play a game or something with a lot of clicks, it's really useful to have this. So I always have it available just in case. Next I have my Oakley sunglasses. Again, it's in a carrying case so that like it can't really get beat up because it's in this weird pocket that's like very often going to get smushed by all the other things. And you just never know when you need sunglasses, you know? If you're at a beach, if you're in Curacao like I am right now, you'll probably want sunglasses, but you don't want them to break, and you probably won't need them most days, but always good to have them when you need them. Another example of this is my international charger. So this is a ePica charger, but just like my other chargers, I'm not really tied to this brand or this specific model. Really, I just look on Wirecutter for whatever the best model is that they've tested, and some other sites, and take whatever is the current best for that year. But I think it's always good to have a little brick, and if you can get one as small as this, I really like it because it's compact, then it's great because I can carry it around in my backpack and the weight isn't too much for how little I actually use it. But this has got EU, UK, USA, and Australia in it, and it's got all sorts of ports on the back, so very easy to translate from one to the other. Super useful, really only useful for when I'm traveling, but most people when they travel, they forget this thing, so they have to go buy another. This one just always lives in the backpack, so I never forget. I've also got my stickers. I used to be big into making stickers. I don't really do that much anymore, but I always have them, just in case. I'm trying to stick stuff on stuff. All right, the last two things I've gotten here are 2 locks. Locks are just like these other things where you really never need it, but when you do need it, it's like such a pain to get them. So I have 2 locks. One is like a cord lock, which can be useful for like if you want to leave your bags together, or you need to like leave your bag unattended, or you're in like a busy place where things get stolen often. Cord lock really useful for that, because for those items that aren't easily just like lockable. And then I've got a standard just like master lock for like if you go into like a gym or something that has lockers but no locks included. This is really good for that. Again, I really have only used this a few times, but in those cases when you need a lock, really, really good to have them. And that's it. That's what I carry in my backpack when I'm traveling. I know it's a lot of stuff, but basically the way it all came together is pretty organic. It's like me going on a trip or doing something, and then I realize I'm missing something in some situation, so then I'll go order it, and then I'll have it in my backpack for the next time that thing happens. It'll be covered. So yeah, hope you enjoyed seeing what's in my backpack. Let me know if you have any questions, suggestions, criticisms of what I carry around everywhere. And that's it for this video. Thanks for watching. I'll see you in the next one.